What's up, Starcraft fans? This video is brought to you by ShadowArchon, who is supporting me on Patreon. All Canon tier supporters or higher are guaranteed 1 video redemption per month. This month he requested that I play Swann, specifically mass Wraiths, against very chunky trains. They're gonna have Just Die and Barrier, which will make me have to deal a lot of damage just to punch through and actually destroy said trains. So, map will be Oblivion Express. We will need to destroy 9 trains on brutal difficulty, and we cannot let more than 1 train escape, otherwise we'll lose the game. So I will use heavy weapon specialist here so I can have the laser drill slow down all the enemies. I've thought about using no prestige, but the laser drill and the concentrated beam and pulse cannon will kind of just not do anything because the enemies survive once upon death. So I'll go with heavy weapon specialists to have continuously strong laser splash. My masteries will be combat drop because I don't have the concentrated beam. I'll have structure health because I won't make immortality protocol units, and laser drill build time upgrade time and upgrade cost because Wraiths are mineral intensive, which means I don't need any gas drones whatsoever. So let's start. As usual, we will be on the Magura map. We picked products because they are not gonna have the numbers that will nullify my Wraith's single target damage. Now, full disclaimer, ShadowArchon did mention that this wasn't meant to be a challenge but more of a showcase. He said that I could have an ally. I didn't need to solo it even. I could have an ally and have that person help me out. But I kinda like doing the showcase with the challenge because that makes it kind of interesting to me. So I've decided to go solo it anyway. Hooray, I guess. The main challenge with Swann is the ramp up time. He ramps up one of the slowest among all commanders in the game because it needs to be macro based. His only hero is this laser drill, and it can only shoot one thing at a time. Unless you count the concentrated beam and the splash. But, you know, it's still one thing. That's why we need to ramp up as quickly as possible. I'm doing my usual build here, just the 14 depot, 16 refinery, 17 factory, single build in the factory, triple build on the refinery, and then once the factory completes, we'll start an armory and quadruple build that so that it will line up completing alongside the laser drill, so I can start upgrading the laser drill right away. This only works if you have full mastery points on the laser drill, which you should be doing anyway, by the way, because gas drones, as I said, will not be impactful in this run because Wraiths are mineral intensive. I don't need a lot of gas. So start the armory, and then this SCV will start the blaster billy. The blaster billy will allow me to break the rocks easily and take my expansion. As I said, Swann has a relatively slow ramp up time. I will need to break the expansion rocks and then take my expansion and saturate my expansion as quickly as I can so I can get more income so I can pay for my Wraiths. I have made a mistake here. I meant to start a supply depot there so I won't get supply block. Instead I start a blaster billy, which I think I will cancel in time, and then restart the depot. But that kind of already supply blocked me for a little bit, for a considerable bit actually. But I have floated my factory all the way down here to kind of stall the first wave. I've selected Reaver Disruptor for this comp because they don't shoot up very well, which is good news for my Wraiths. They don't have Storm, and they are Protoss units, which will make my Wraiths be more effective because they have high single target damage and no splash. So as soon as the mineral rocks go down in expansion, I send all these SCVs here, 8 in total, to fast build this here command center, and then put that command center in the control group right away so I can start saturating side by side. Here comes the first wave. I will try to destroy that first wave using only the laser drill and some repair on my SCVs on that factory. The factory, I hope, will survive this first wave. You can see the splash damage kicking right away. The laser drill is hitting all 4 of these units just by targeting a middle one. And that will make it essentially deal quadruple the damage instead of single loop of damage. blaster ability will complete and kind of help me burst down the train. And of course the escort that comes alongside the train. You can see I am still constructing SCVs continuously. Again, I need to pump out my economy as quickly as I can so I can ramp up my Wraiths. The laser drill, the blaster billies, and the arrays can only hold on for so long and delete main objectives before the enemy gets way too strong and way too chunky to actually allow my Wraiths to finish them off. So for now, I will use my arrays to kind of deal continuous damage. I have 3 blaster abilities, the warbot drop, and the laser drill, all contributing toward this toward this train's destruction. And then meanwhile, I have this here factory. So you can see this is a very lucky stroke on my part because the train bugged out. It was supposed to revive once upon death, but it kind of bugged out because I hit 2 cars at the same time as the last hit, which means it did not revive. That's how the bug works. That was a very lucky break on my end, but I think I still would have had enough firepower on my blaster abilities. And if it hadn't gone down, I would have just made an SCV follow it, and the laser focus fire it down, and that might have finished it off. You know, the Ares did do a good job deleting the rest of that wave. So now we are fast building the second armory so I can get fast upgrades on my Wraiths, and the 2 starports are now producing. So 7-minute timing on the upgrades or on the add-ons for the starports. Kind of slow, but that's Swann for you. We are destroying all of these, and once that 7-minute wave has been taken care of, we will salvage all of these blaster abilities and use that money to fund our Wraith production. So you can see 4 Wraiths at a time, the double upgrades and the armor upgrades. Again, financed partially by the salvage on these turrets right here. More depots in production. You can see my production is humming now. I have 4 Wraiths producing simultaneously. The auto heal, which is pretty important for my race, because I will not be making additional workers for repair or science vessels. I will need that. That regenerative biosteel will be their primary source of healing. Factory. This is the one. This is the same factory from earlier. It will now give vision for the laser drill against the enemies. Well, I only have 4 Wraiths. I currently have 4 Wraiths on the field. That is nowhere near enough to fight this much stuff. I will try to whittle them down one at a time, but the bulk of the damage comes from the laser drill at the moment. You can see I'm trying to micro now. So with the pulse amplification upgrade, I forgot what it's called, but basically the Wraith upgrade from the tech lab, they will deal triple the damage when they shoot while moving. So you will have to micro the moving shot on your Wraiths to get the most value out of them. Of course, that's kind of unfair for Swann. He already has one of the most taxing macros I guess in the game, because you have to get upgrades, get depots, get produce units, and then on top of that, you have to micro your Wraiths to get the most value out of them. But the plus side, I guess, is that his hero unit, his laser drill, requires no micro. It just kind of points itself at something, as long as you have vision, and then it does its thing. You can see it has a second health, literally a second health bar. That cannot be healthy. I cloak my Wraiths so that they don't take damage from these derps. I'll have to let my factory just tank all that firepower from the attack wave. Meanwhile, I now have successfully put up 3 starports, and they are producing 6 Wraiths at a time, like so. You can see these derps just barely have enough to finish off that factory. The good news is it did buy me enough time to get all my production up. You can see, again, 2 double upgrades simultaneously while producing, well, 4 Wraiths. I'll soon have 6 at a time. So now, with 22 Wraiths in the force, I'm able to much better deal with these guys. So again, the way you micro, or the way at least I micro, is I like to right click on the ground and then press the stop command or hold position, that works too, and then the Wraiths will start shooting as they decelerate. And since they are still moving, even though they are decelerating, they will still deal triple the damage with their attacks, which will make them deal a lot of damage. Mortal, kind of shooting at my starport, that is not ideal. I decloak once all the units that can shoot back are gone. The good news is that cloaking and decloaking does not cost energy. It consumes energy while the cloak is up, but the command of cloaking or decloaking itself consumes no energy, which is pretty massive for how I like to decloak my Wraiths when they are out of action. If it costs anything to start the cloak, it's just not going to work. This is going to be too expensive to cloak and decloak repeatedly. Got a hybrid here. It will go down in short order. Nowhere. Attack wave on the way. They will be met by 34 of my finest Wraiths. And counting, by the way, because now I'm producing them 5 at a time. That's all I have the money to do while microing. I'm just gonna let the bonus trains escape because I'm kind of focusing on the trains. This is a mutation after all, so I can't really spare the time to run back and take care of the bonus trains. So all I can do is just kind of fly here, deal with all these enemies. You can see a bunch of Dark Templar here. I don't even bother trying to control or keep my Ares alive because their work is done. They were just meant to help me repel that annoying attack wave. But at this point I have 40 Wraiths. That is plenty, I would say, to take on this train and its escort. The question is whether it will also be enough to take on the South train. And that is probably one of the biggest difficulty spikes in this map. The first double train set. We'll see. It's very handy that the enemy does not have Storm, Disabling Cloud, or rather Parasitic Bomb, Seeker Missiles, or any form of splash damage, because those do stack on all my Wraiths, and then you can see I like to clump them together to concentrate all their firepower to be able to defeat this train. And if there were any form of splash damage that the enemy has, that's going to be terrible news for my Wraiths. My Wraiths will kind of be sitting ducks if they get stormed, fungled, parasitic bombed, and stuff like that. Attack wave on the way to the north. Cool my Wraiths first. 45 now, getting ready to come through. Destroy this attacker. I did lose 1. I did lose 2. You can see your Wraiths, even with the upgrade that reduces the damage, or at least allows them to kind of dodge some of the shots, they still fall in some form. They're still kind of semi-trade. Although it's, I would say, a very favorable trade because you have almost all your Wraiths survive, and over time I still managed to increase my Wraith count after the fight rather than decrease, and that comes from the power of pressing buttons on the production structures, aka macro. Flying down here, I will preserve my Ares drop cooldown because I will need that in the second set of double trains, which will come a bit later. So I'd rather have it in a back pocket ready. 161 supply, now up to 52 Wraiths. You can see there on the top left. And the secret is, if you watch the command card on the right, every few seconds I just tab to my production structure and then start clicking on more Wraiths. And then when you're back to the field, to control your Wraiths, And then, oh, I should probably, yeah, there we go. You see, tabbing back and forth. That's what the APM goes to. When you've watched Starcraft and you wonder how players can issue hundreds of commands per second, it's really not difficult to press fast enough to play Starcraft. A lot of people think that Starcraft is a game for fast players. I think that for 99.9% of the players, you don't need to be any faster than a normal human being. Because for 99% of the players, it is more important to just remember what to do next, rather than to click fast enough to just outstrip your opponent, even when you're playing 1v1. I think that is a verifiable fact for 99% of players. In fact, I might do a survey sometime. I'll ask around with the guys I know who play 1v1. Ask them, when was the last time you lost a game of StarCraft because your opponent clicked faster than you? I can guarantee it almost never happens. Or if it does, it's just an opponent that's way out of their league. But in a matched game, you can almost be sure that they lost due to a different thing. Like either they scouted wrong, or they produced the wrong things, or they didn't remember to produce enough things, aka they were floating money, they didn't micro correctly, they chose the wrong units, they may have bad engagement. Almost never is playing too slow the reason why they lost. So I would argue that StarCraft, for 99% of the players, again, this applies to probably every single game. 99% of the players don't have to worry about how fast they play. It's more of worrying about remembering what they need to do next. And this time, as long as I remember to keep tabbing back to my starports and clicking the Make More Wraiths button, I will be able to replenish my numbers and just end up with more Wraiths after the fight than Wraiths before I started. And that is the key to this whole thing. You just have to keep remembering to make more Wraiths behind all that fighting.
Main objective destroyed.
You ain't escaping today, Hoss.
Ooh, that's a big wave. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tab back here, produce more units. Although 67 is a pretty big number of Wraiths. That is a whole lot of Wraiths. Again, laser drill splash, doing a sting, slowing the enemy down, allowing my Wraiths to just kind of fly in, pew 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 these down, until there are no enemies left.
Their warehouses should be
That is
looking
pretty
real
nice.
empty right now.
Ooh, I even
Not too
see
many
the
trains left to go.
observer getting splashed by the laser drill. That's pretty nice. Okay. Will I even chase that? No. I thought I was going to chase that one. I don't remember chasing that bonus train. And I was correct in my memory. So now I maxed out with 74 Wraiths. That is pretty decent. 75 Wraiths even. And now all that's left to do is finish off this last trade. In fact, I don't have to finish off the escort. All I need to do is right click the last trade repeatedly until it is gone. So this time, instead of pressing the stop command, you can see it's alternating between move command and attack command, which means I right click on the ground and then right click on the train. That's kind of the tricky part of the macro, or the micro rather. But if you can get it right, you can snipe the last train relatively quickly.
Think you can run from us?
And then fly away after the fight. Or, you know, just have the map at it. And that's how you do it. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what else you do, please leave that in the comment. Score screen wise, you can see 83% of my damage. Actually, let's pull this out. 83% of my damage is from the Wraiths. They were able to destroy exactly 300 units. That's pretty nice. 655 things destroyed overall. 116, or rather 110,700 damage to trains. That is pretty amazing. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have an idea for what else you do, please leave that in a comment. And thank you for your usual dropping likes, dropping comments, even watching the video. to the very end. I really appreciate that. And I will see you guys next time. Start of the show, obviously the Wraith.